As we think of the life of David, we must recognize that as a young man, he sowed things in life that would bring blessing to his future and to his destiny. David lived with an eye on the future. Now, let me say that one more time. David lived with an eye on the future, so he was very careful about his actions. He did not sow things today that would bring destruction to his life later. Instead, David learned to sow things that would bring blessing. He did not want to bring pain in his future. He wanted to bring blessing in his future. So every day of his life, he lived with one eye on the future. And that's something I would challenge young people with today, because sometimes when you're young, you're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about the fact that what you do today will have an impact on your future. God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. And maybe the greatest illustration of this in David's life is in 1 Samuel chapter 26, beginning with verse 8. David's assistant looked at him as they were standing over Saul sound asleep, and God had supernaturally put everybody sound asleep around them. And David's assistant said, God has surely handed your enemy over to you this time. And Abishai whispered to David, let me pin him to the ground with one thrust of the spear. I won't need to strike twice. No, David said, don't kill him. For who can remain innocent after attacking the Lord's anointed one? Who can remain innocent after attacking the Lord's anointed one? Surely the Lord will strike down Saul someday, or he will die of old age or in battle. The Lord forbid that I should kill the one that he has anointed. But take this spear and that jug of water beside his head, and then let's get out of here. Now, I want you to notice, in spite of Saul's actively working to kill David. In fact, the reason Saul was even there at that point in time is he brought 3,000 men out of the finest soldiers to try and kill David. So even though Saul was wanting to kill David, David said, you know what? God put his hand on this man's life. God anointed him to be king. And I know that one day I will be king, but I am not going to destroy my future by putting my hand out and killing the Lord's anointed. If I sow that, one day I will reap that. In fact, to be honest, I think the reason David survived Absalom's attacks was because of what he had sowed at this point in his life. David knew a principle that would unlock and preserve his destiny. Now, both of those concepts need to be understood. That would unlock his destiny and preserve his destiny. He says, verse 23, the Lord gives his own reward for doing good and for being loyal. And I refuse to kill you even when the Lord placed you in my power, for you are the Lord's anointed one. He said, even though God tested me, God gave me the opportunity to do this, I did not do it. Now, may the Lord value my life, even as I have valued yours today. May he rescue me from all my troubles. David understood God has a reward for loyalty. The Lord gives his own reward for, number one, doing good, and number two, being loyal. Now, beloved, I know in this world today, loyalty is scoffed at and mocked at. Oh, you're just being loyal. I understand. But I have lived my life demonstrating loyalty. And because of that, I'm still standing. I've sowed that in my life as a young preacher. I continue to sow that in my life today. When you demonstrate loyalty, God has a reward for doing good, and God has a reward for loyalty. And then he says, now here's David's prayer. Now may the Lord value my life, even as I have valued yours today. David said, I didn't kill you, and I had the opportunity. May the Lord value my life. May I reap this in my future. Now, I want to especially speak to the young people today. Sometimes you think that what you do in youth, the sins of youth, sowing your wild oats, there's lots of things that it is called. Sometimes you think that the things you do as a young person really don't impact your future, but they really do impact your future. God is not mocked. Whatever man soweth, that shall he also reap. Learn to sow good things. Learn to sow loyalty in life. And then later in life, as God opens up your destiny, you reap that in your life.